tell me. We are live. Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert with the Ted Show. I'm back. I don't know where I've been, but I'm back. And I am back with a vengeance. We've got an international superstar on the show. That's the only way I can describe you, Jatin. I mean, come on,
Kind
Jatin.
of you.
You're, no, but he has the most amazing background. And I'm really trying to expand the reach of the show and give you guys some really cool people like Jatin, and you're going to say it right for me later. I'm going to get it by the end of the show, I promise. But he is, I'll let him give his background, but thank you so much for being on the show. So excited to have you. You have a big international presence, and I'm just excited to learn more about you. So welcome.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ted. It's a pleasure to be on your show. I'm really excited and honored to be here. Just a quick background about myself. You've been too kind in the description about me. So myself, Jatin Malhotra. I'm based out of Mumbai, India. I started my professional journey back in 2012. I graduated from Mumbai University. I did my engineering, and my first job was at Oracle. So I was a software engineer at Oracle for 3 years. I built banking software, a banking product which was built out of Mumbai, shipped across the world. 200 countries across the world used Oracle's banking product. That's where my initial learning journey was. After that, I joined Facebook. At Facebook, I had amazing experience where I worked on projects in emerging markets. So just to give you some insight, the next set of 1 billion users for Facebook would be from India, and a very critical emerging market. So when we started, Professor Askar wanted to join a team. He's from MIT Media Labs, head of Camera Culture Research Group. So he wanted to set up a team in India, and that's where I got a break there. And we ended up setting a wonderful team of 20 plus people. We worked on very interesting projects, which eventually had a lot of impact, not only for an emerging country like India, but the beauty of software being that you build once, deploy multiple places, multiple times. The impact is exponential. So we worked on.
May I ask you, why is India such an, what is it about India, that market? Was it just untapped before? They weren't big Facebook, you weren't big Facebook users. Why is that such an important emerging market?
Yeah, so why it happens to be an important market specifically is because we are a developing country. So if you see, the internet penetration till a few years back was around 150 million users. India has around a huge population of 1.5 billion people, and my time at Facebook started in 2016, and now we have 400 million active internet users in the country, and
Wow.
this number would be doubled by 2022. So that's where India is an amazing market for internet companies, and internet happens to be global. You don't need a official presence on a land. You could be seven seas across, seven oceans across, and still build a wonderful product which people across the world could use. But having a specific presence in form of a team in emerging countries gives you certain insights about the best practices. How do people perceive technology? What are the cultural nuances which you could adopt in a market? For example, if you see McDonald's M is the most recognized signature logo in the world, ahead of Christ, it is said. Now, if you see, McDonald's has adopted itself so beautifully in India. They have a complete different set of menu. Being a foreign brand, they culturally very much assimilated into the system by bringing out dishes which were so wonderful locally, and it made a great business. So same goes for products also, where it's very important that they basically understand what the local nuances are, what are the people's likes and interests, how do they consume a particular technology and then grow. So that being the main insight, we started our work in India. We worked on very interesting projects which went on to create a lot of impact. One of the projects was a robocode. So just imagine, in emerging countries, people don't have addresses.
I didn't know that.
Exactly. So what happens in emerging countries, especially in India, whenever you ask an address, it's a four-line address. It's a very long address. So how can we simplify it? So this was a problem statement what we observed, and we came out with something called as robocode. which went on to win a lot of awards in a lot of conferences across the world. So what did we do? We basically give a special interest to a piece of land. For every geography, we divided it 10 by 10, and we gave a an alphanumeric address. So what a complete city of Nasik was transferred using robocodes. And if you could just go on Google Maps, still you could still find those. So the idea was, can SMBs leverage the power of robocode? Can they leverage the power of these unique addresses and reach? So that it has an economic impact, it has a social impact. Economic impact being a normal delivery and e-commerce delivery in India tends to take forever. It involves 30% of parcels never get delivered, because the addresses are so difficult, or even if they do, there is a huge last mile cost to it. So the impact being that if you have recognizable addresses which your systems can direct you to, it saves time, it saves money. The second is a cultural impact, a social impact, where suppose a lady is conceiving and an ambulance doesn't know where to go, it's a big disaster. Or
That's
if you see,
huge. I never thought of, I didn't realize, again, this is me growing up in the States, of course, everything had an address down to the nitty gritty. And I did not realize that you did not have that in India. That's fascinating. So that's very
we do.
important. You all were
Yeah,
able,
we do have addresses, but the point being that these addresses are not basically understood by systems. So
right.
when you say you put a big address on a system, on say any navigation system, because of the nature of the address being so long, it really becomes difficult for systems to understand. So that's where we decided, can we create an addressing scheme which is short, which people can remember, which systems can decipher, and there could be easy navigation. So just imagine there is a fire breakout, and the fire brigade doesn't know where to go. So this is something which emerging countries across the world tend to face. So that's where we thought, how can we as a product address the problem? So that's where we work. So it was an amazing project out there, and we had a good share of success. The second project what we worked on, which is close to my heart, is basically into tech for social good. So back in 2017, we observed a lot of people across the world were sharing needs of blood. So what really happens is, in a lot of emerging countries, the blood banks don't have a capacity to store blood. Hardly the capacity would not be more than 4 5 days. And in a many cases, because of a lot of misinformation, there is a tremendous shortage of blood all the time. So a lot of people we observed were posting a lot of things out there, asking people around for blood. So the product teams at Facebook thought, why can't we build a product which basically can aid this shortage of blood? So that's where blood donor product was created. And around 2017, it was about to get launched in India, and that's where I got the opportunity to program manage this product in the country. So we scaled it from 0 to 11 million registered donors. So
Wow.
yeah, 11 million registered donors registered themselves voluntarily, giving their blood groups. How the product worked. So suppose someone myself or someone in my area required blood. What do? I just go to Facebook, I post a request. Automatically, the Facebook systems would send 500 notifications in a 5 kilometer radius saying that I require blood. And there would be a number, there would be a messenger, people could call, people could drop a WhatsApp message, or they can reach out directly and donate blood. So that's where there was a massive social impact project which saved a lot of lives. We involved Ministry of Health. We were thankful for the Ministry of Health in India to have supported the project. We had more than 3,000 blood banks across the country participating in this revolution. And so this was a specific case of how technology can make lives better. So people thought Facebook was always a tool, to just talk to friends, just to share photos, or just to put check-ins. No, so it had a big social impact. So I had a great time managing this product, and
How
then
did
as
you, may I ask you, how did you go? What was the plan, or how did you implement a plan that went from 0 to 11 million? I mean, that's you're making, I think you're being very humble. You're making that sound like it was just a quick breeze and a really easy thing to do, but there's a lot of planning involved. I would
yeah.
imagine, to reach that many people. So tell us a little bit, because I'm fascinated by the I believe too that the social good, the fact that you were able to get your blood donations up to 11 million registered users is huge. But there's so much more good that we can do. So I want you to share a little bit about the process, how you actually were able to reach that many people.
Sure. How did we do this? This was a chicken and egg situation. So initially when we started, I required blood, but I had no registered donors, So how do people turn up? So the first step to this process was to get registered donors. So how did we do this? This is a very unique factor where we need to get into, how human beings are. So the one emotion of which we triggered was of a network effect. So if I go and tell people, so whenever I registered as a blood donor, there was a notification, there was a feed post which went to everyone in my network of my friend list on Facebook saying Jatin registered as a blood donor, would you want to register? So this was a campaign which we ran where there was a gratification involved. And then let me tell you, you being able to donate blood is actually a emphasis that you are healthy, you are fit, you're fine, that you can donate blood, so there is a gratification involved. It sends out a message that the person is healthy, the person is helpful, the person wants to save lives, so that sort of messaging being so critical, and considering that platforms are all about social, so interdependent platforms, so that's where I guess that messaging triggered the way it was positioned. And there was a massive network effect. People out of people went on, going out, and then we had 11 million, say. So it took us time, it took us 7 to 8 months to reach that figure, but yeah, once we reached, we had a critical mass on which then we actually go out and partner with say hospitals across the country, 3,000 blood banks, Ministry of Health. So that was the plan basically, which led us to this activity.
So, I mean, it's just amazing to me that you were able to reach that many people. I also, again, I love the part about the social good. Is that how you began? Once you got really your hands into that type of project and realized how impactful you could be, is that where you started to really develop your contacts, because your social media presence may not be known to my immediate viewers, but it will be now. But if you click on your link, you obviously have made an impact on a lot of people. You have a lot of people that follow you and follow what you do. So is that how you sort of began that process? Because you're speaking, you're engaging, you're getting out there, you're getting messages out there, positive messages. Did you make the leap because of the social good that you did with the blood bank program?
Uh, so it did help, but the journey, to answer your question specifically, the journey started long back when I graduated. So when I graduated, so one core area which I have been contributing on, and which is actually my career, my professional career out there, is community building. So in 2012, back then, Google was setting up developer ecosystems across the world. So Google came out with new set of softwares, and they wanted to evangelize it within the community, and India being a very critical market of developers. So back in 2012, I was approached by Google to set up a Google developer group in Mumbai, and that I led it for 4 years before I joined Facebook. So that Google developer group, it was a voluntary role, but that Google developer group went on to become the largest in the world. So I guess
Wow.
that's where somewhere it aided in terms of the visibility part of it, because it involved a lot of interactions with the developer community of Mumbai being a metropolitan city, one of the biggest cities. So that's where my interpersonal skills developed. That's where I learned a lot of things, doing things hands on, and that's where the kind of follower base which got built up, because we had a mailing chain of say more than 1 lakh people at a point in time when I led Google Developer Group Mumbai along with my team. So that's where I guess it started. And because of the visibility, somewhere, I got an opportunity at Facebook also. So that's where it all started. And definitely the opportunity at Facebook definitely helped in running massive campaigns with government of India at a massive scale, pan India. So yeah, that's how it has been.
So it's really amazing what you've been able to accomplish. One of the things that was on that you mentioned was strategic
Yeah.
partnerships in general. And I imagine that that is sort of a basis for what you did with the social good. I mean, the more strategic partnerships you had, the
Yeah,
more relationships you built. So talk
yeah.
about that. Why is that important? That's part of your platform. I noticed it's on almost all of your social media: partnerships, strategic partnerships, growth, emerging markets. Why define strategic partnerships, your definition, and then kind of explain to them how people can utilize them for the greater good, which is what you're doing.
Sure. So strategic partnerships, I guess one thing which is at the core of it, to ensure that human relations are there for the longest time, and it's always an ongoing process, is the attitude of giving. So when you start any sort of partnership, if you have something good to be given, an altruistic mode of communication where you're actually thinking good to happen, you know, things fall in place. So I guess in each of my roles which I did, I guess one thing at the core was giving. One thing was how can I as a person add value with whatever access to resources I had. So I guess that is one thing which aided. And it's not about it. So say I'm done with. So I these days I worked at Facebook, then I worked at Reliance. But the set of relations as part of strategic partnerships which were built even 8 years back still remain. So the human contact tends to remain. So yeah, this one realization and understanding I have had, and which is very close to my heart, is how can you as a person add value to companies, to individuals, to developers, to gain maximum benefit out of the ecosystem.
I love it. I think it's amazing because I think people really don't, they underestimate the value of a strategic partnership. Tell me about how people, if people are listening, especially my new viewers who are watching you for the first time, how can people create strategic partnerships, maybe with the Indian community, the with India itself as an emerging market? I would imagine that there are opportunities, reciprocal opportunities, both sides, where the states, people in the states, can develop relationships, strategic partnerships there, and vice versa. But if
Why
you've never
not?
broken into the market before, if you don't understand the market, then maybe you could give a couple of tips on some ideas on how to access that market as a strategic partner.
Yeah, why not? I would love to give my insights into it. So I would tend to give my insights from the field I belong to, which happens to be software, software development. And the beauty of a software development is platforms is basically you can be anywhere in the world, and you still can be to one part of the world and add value to the other part. So if you see, there are a lot of software companies which we have across the world, have a lot of good presence in India. So immediately, if anyone would want to gain foothold in India, would want to add value for their set of consumers, would want to create value for themselves. I guess the biggest company at this point in time happens to be Reliance Jio. So if you see, the biggest opportunity created has been for one of the three most reputable companies in US. You saw Facebook investing, you saw Silver Partners, Silver Lake investing, and a couple of other PE investors. So Geo Platforms Limited is a company I work at this point in time, where we are building the world's biggest developer ecosystem. So how do people benefit? People benefit by building apps, by building software, by building systems which would run on Geo, on Geo's platform. So I'll give you some numbers about internet being an opportunity at this point in time. So if you see right now, I'll give you an interesting stat. We have 150 million feature phones out there in India, which is more than populations of most country out there. 150 million. We
Wow.
have we have a reach of a set-top box which powers a smart TV, which may like the Roku equivalent in India, which is powered by a broadband. We have up to 2 million homes right now being powered, and the number would be 20 million in a year. That's how developers, that's how software creators can unlock value by building apps for the GeoStore marketplace, which is similar to Play Store for Google or an App Store for Apple, where you have a single GeoStore platform where people can come and develop applications which reach masses. They can be anywhere in the world. They can reach out to the set of next 1 billion internet users, which would be coming out from. and create value. That is one very easy way to enter Indian markets, which is software as a field. So that's how I feel that this particular ecosystem can be explored. But otherwise, I guess the other ways can be, we have a lot of industry bodies like FICCI, CII, which tend to have a lot of overseas bodies. So if entrepreneurs are not in software but they are in other fields, they definitely can reach out to these organizations and reach out and be proactive. And I'm very sure the opportunities would open up. India is very open to FDIs. India is very open, is a very big market out here, and it's only growing. The purchasing capacity of a developing country by its true nature is increasing. So a lot of opportunity for a lot of folks out there.
I mean, that's amazing. I think people are looking. I think I want to ask you a question about COVID-19, of course. But I think a lot of people, because of the lockdown, quarantine, whatever every country, whatever person, whatever anyone's doing, people have become creative. So that's why it's very important what you shared, I think, because people are looking outside of what they normally did, their comfort zone, and looking for ways to build their brand, build their business, form those strategic partnerships, which are critical. And I don't think the first thought, in all honesty, is, oh, I should figure out how to do business in India. And what you have gifted them with is a thought process, a spark. So I'm very excited about that. Let me ask you, what have you been doing personally? This is a question I ask every guest. I'm assuming you all are in the same. What's your COVID-19 situation over there? You know what I'm assuming, so I don't know. Are you on lockdown like the States? Are you in social distancing? Is that what you're doing? I shouldn't assume anything. So share with us.
Sure. So I guess we really appreciate the efforts which companies, government, local authorities have ensured in India. It's a very deadly disease. It's very infectious, spreads really fast. So we are in a lockdown. So I guess the last I would have gone to office would be somewhere around March 16. Since then, it's been a lockdown, and we all are at home. Almost all the companies are in a shutdown mode, except few essential services, folks, who cannot. But yeah, it's been a lockdown since then.
So what have you been doing personally, aside from business, to keep sane, to keep focused, to keep creative when you're not
Yeah.
able to go out and socialize?
Yeah, that's true. So because my work happens to be digital, so our workload actually has increased, if you see, because we are launching a lot of OTT apps. Because the consumption of internet broadband in India has increased 4 to 5 times. So we are onboarding a lot of strategic partners. We are working with a lot of authorities out there to enable content because people are in lockdown mode. So that is one which keeps me busy work wise. But yeah, in my personal life, I tend to contribute to an NGO called as Impact Waves Foundation. A group of me and couple of them co-founded it a while back. And what we are trying to do. So personally, I feel really bad that people are so scared that if they go out, they'll die. That is such a bad world to live in. And I can just imagine the kind of mental health disruption it is doing right now across the world, especially in India, where people think that they'll die if they don't maintain a social distance, or if they even move a kilometer from their house. So we are trying to see what best can we do in form of a helpline or in form of a social app where people can really stray if they require any help, because they can't even go to doctors. The clinics are shut, the hospitals are open, but then they can't move unless they're infected. Even the hospitals are not accepting anyone. So that's where we thought, can we create something which can aid this? So I guess we are working towards it, where as a non-profit, can we try to address this problem of mental health, because it's the most overlooked issue in a lot of emerging countries. So we're trying to see if we could make people feel better.
It's fantastic. All right, so tell me before we head out, tell me what your ultimate goal is. You're obviously becoming a speaker that travels, you're organizing, you are gaining momentum, and whatever you're building, no matter what the brand is, your brand or someone else's brand, or your project or someone else's. What do you ultimately want to do? Do you want to travel the world and speak? Do you want to continue to create social good in the world? What's your ultimate goal?
Yeah, I would love to definitely create tools and products which definitely can make lives better. It can be in a profit world, a non-profit world, working for someone or doing something on my own. But the core belief is being an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur is basically to create tools which can actually exponentially change lives and change lives for better. Definitely, I would love to, visit various parts of the world. I've been to a few places around, but yeah, but visiting and meeting new people definitely adds so much of the understanding, of new things to learn from so many people out there. So yeah, diversity is really critical. So yeah, let's see what we have in store in coming years.
Wonderful. All right, so I have lots of love that people have shown you, actually across platforms. It's interesting. I've got lots of love on YouTube, Facebook, and I'm sure there's going to be love on LinkedIn as well. Tell people the best way that they can reach you.
Yeah, folks could reach out to me on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I guess thanks to Ted, he has mentioned the LinkedIn URL down here. They could reach out to me on Facebook, on Insta. Jatin Malhotra is my user ID on Twitter, everywhere. So yeah, I would love to be in touch. Or maybe folks can drop you email. I would love to reply to them via you. And happy to help to see you doing some amazing work right now, and then making people come to your show, share their stories. I guess that really helps, and more power to you. I hope you
You.
continue inspiring people.
Thank you. You were a joy, my friend. That was excellent. I knew it would be, but you never know. I hadn't ventured out to begin to get out. I'm doing things outside my comfort zone. So I thought, you know what? I have all these amazing people that I have met via social media platforms. Why not look and find people that are doing fascinating, wonderful, impactful things in our world? And you are definitely one of those people. So thank you so much for being on the show. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. You guys go out, find Jatin Malhotra. I'm saying it in Spanish.
Yeah, right.
Terrible,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. Find him. I've put his LinkedIn down there. I've also tagged him on Facebook. You can follow him there. He's also on Twitter and Instagram and all over the place. But if you really want to reach him, you've got an idea, reach out to him. If you can't find him, reach out to me and I'll put you in touch. But thank you so much for being flexible, my friend. Thank you again for all you're doing for our world. And I look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you so much, Ted. It was a pleasure being on the show. Looking forward to be in touch with you.
Wonderful. All right, guys, reach out to him. This is a real impact person here. So let's reach out and support him. Thank you so much, buddy. I
Thank you. Bye.
appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.